Hello, it's Davy Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas, where I run the jazz guitar program. Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist. New Sunnyside record, Waybacks, coming out June 9th, y'all. And I got 2 Mel Bay books, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary, and Into the Labyrinth, An Anatomy of Position Playing for Jazz Guitar. So it's kind of late February 2023 over here at UNT. We're in the height of the semester, mid-semester madness. We just had a great guest artist, Roberto Sanchez Picasso, last week from the University of Chihuahua in Mexico. Shout out to Roberto. We got Mike Moreno coming this week. Just busy stuff. But not so busy that I don't have time to talk to y'all about Chega de Saudade, aka No More Blues. Great Tom Jobim, Vinicius de Moraes song, real bossa nova standard. Although it's kind of got a different form than most bossa nova tunes, a longer form, somewhat reminiscent almost of choro music, or I don't know how to, I guess it kind of straddles the genres in Brazilian music. And yeah, it's called No More Blues in English, and John Hendricks wrote a lyric to it. There's a few versions of this thing. It's written in like the late 50s, because it's on a Joao Gilberto album from 1958, I think, just called Chega de Saudade. That's a great version. He's in D minor, which is a pretty I think standard key for it. Tom Jobim plays it on, there's that record, it's called like The Composer of Desafinado Plays. Those titles they used to do in the 60s, where he doesn't sing it, just plays the melody on piano, and it's a good version to, learn the song. I was expecting when I was, oh wow, I don't know what that sound was, but, oh god, I gotta edit this stuff out, but I'm keeping it real over here, you guys. What was it? Where was I? Yeah, there's Joe Henderson does a version on the album Double Rainbow, a great record where he does Tom Jobim tunes, and half the record is like a Brazilian rhythm section. This song is on the second half of the record, where you have Herbie and DeJohnette and Christian McBride. And they play it as a swing tune, which is cool. The only thing I wish they did on that record is when they solo on it, they don't do the major part of the song, because as we'll see, it's kind of like 2 songs. There's a minor part and a major part. But what I was going to say before that sound so rudely interrupted me was that I was expecting to find more variation. When you go back and listen to these standards, you get a lot of variation on the chords and everything, sometimes even the melody. This one was pretty across, I didn't listen to every version again, but from Joao Gilberto to Tom Jobim to Joe Henderson, other than Joe Henderson does it in a different key, the melody and the chords are pretty similar. So, and there is a good chart on this in the a good lead sheet in the new Real Book, like the legal Real Book, Volume 1. That follows. I was checking it with various versions, and I think it's pretty good. So let's see. Basically, some versions have this intro where you have like a G minor, G minor, A7, D minor, then like a B diminished or E7 over B. And then, after that chord, you kind of have like a B flat minor 6. A lot of these chords are, I don't know whether to call them by the name of, they're sort of an inversion, so it's kind of like A flat 7 with the flat 9 in the bass, or maybe it's B flat minor 6, because maybe it has an F natural in it, but basically the chord, you got G minor, D, 7, D minor over C, B diminished, and then B flat minor 6, A7, D minor, and then the Tom Jobim versions tend to have like especially there's a great later version in the 80s with the Banda Nova with Tom Jobim's band in the 80s, where they have a E flat major 7 there, like 6/9, and then the song starts. So. actual song, you got D minor over C. Although you go back to Joao Gilberto, that original version, and you don't hear as much of the bass motion that you get later. I think because there's no bass player. I couldn't perceive a bass player on that record from the 50s. There's a lot of percussion and him on guitar. And he does interesting inversions of chords. I feel like a lot of the time he's got a note on the 6th string, whether or not that's the root. Some of the voicings that he uses, which are very different than jazz guitar players. But the later versions have this bass motion of like D minor over C, B diminished. But it's kind of like E7. It's kind of like 2 bars of D minor that Joao Gilberto plays then. Then 2 bars of E7 flat 9. Then the B flat minor 6, A7 D minor, da 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 da, to A7. That's the first little phrase. So 2, 3. The first 8-bar phrase, B flat minor 6, A7 D minor, 2 5. And the second 8 bars does the same kind of walk down, but then this time it's B minor 7 flat 5 kind of to E7 to A minor. So you go to the minor 5, and then B flat major 6, and then A7 again. So the first 8 bars, D minor over C, B diminished, E7 flat 9 over B, B flat minor 6, A7 D minor. And the second 8 bars, D minor 2 5 to A minor, B flat major to A7. Then the third 8 bars you got kind of starts the same as the first 8 bars, E7 flat 9 over B. So then this part, there's a slight variation. So you think you're going to go back to D minor, but instead you kind of go to a D7 flat 9, taking you to G minor. But that Jobim version from the 80s, he kind of goes to D major 7 or D6 before the D7. So the third 8 bars on the 80s version. Although a lot of people will go right to D7 there and do 2 bars on D7 flat 9. Then you got G minor, A7, E7 flat 9, B flat minor 6, A7 D minor, and that's like the first half of the song. That's a lot. I think that's 32 bars, at least. Yeah, I think it's an even number of bars. I should count this stuff before I do these videos, but it's definitely 8-bar phrases. And then there's like a whole other song in the major key. So one more time, the minor part. You got D minor, E7, B diminished, B flat minor 6, A7, D minor, 2 5, or sometimes Jobim will just play like E flat 6 9 there, and the second bar is 2 5 to A minor. B flat major, D minor. It's kind of like the first 8 bars, but then right here it goes to D7, or Jobim goes D major, then D7, G minor, D minor, and this will turn around, B diminished, B flat minor 6, A7, D minor. Counter melody. I'm going to turn off the sound here. My little computer keeps making little beeps at me, as computers tend to do. So that's the minor song. And then the major song, it has that little, it's not a sung melody, but a little like a counter melody, instrumental melody. And then you got D major, either B7 or maybe D sharp diminished. Different people, there's different bass motion in different versions. I guess talking of slight variations in different versions is everybody kind of goes D major, B7, and then this first chord, this E chord, it's either an E minor or maybe an E7. I feel like one of the Tom Jobim versions, he goes. And he has this counter line. And it kind of sounds like an E7. It could be E minor too, I don't know. Then A7 sus, A7. F diminished to D over F sharp, or D diminished to D major. Same thing, basically, just inversions. So. Then F sharp minor, or D over F sharp, and then F diminish. Definitely to E minor here, then to E7, G minor to A7, or E minor 7 flat 5 to A7, D major, B minor. So the chord qualities of like the 6 and the 2 chord, there's some slight variation, but usually it's actually pretty standard. The only thing is sometimes that 2 chord, the first time the 2 chord happens, Jobim makes it dominant, I think. Hard to tell. So where was I? D major, B minor, E7, F sharp 7, then B minor, B flat minor, A minor, G7, G major, G minor, F sharp minor, or maybe F sharp dominant, F sharp dominant, B7, E7, A7, F sharp, dominant, B dominant, F sharp, E7, A7, D. So there's that whole sequence of 3, 6, 2, 5 that repeats 2 or 3 times at the end. And like I said, different versions make the F sharp chord be a minor, others make it be a dominant. Sometimes Jobim has his like that moving line that he likes to do. Let me go through those chords one more time in tempo of the major parts. You got D major, B7, E minor or E7, A7 sus, A7, F diminished, D over F sharp, D over F sharp, F diminished, E minor, E7, G minor, A7, D major, B minor, E7, F sharp 7, B minor, B flat minor, A minor, D7, G major, G minor, F sharp minor, B7, E dominant, A7, F sharp, B for 2, it's 5, 1. And then the whole song repeats. So it's like learning 2 songs in one. I have some students working on it now. And I think for memorization, for me, this song, I was learning it, also trying to learn Portuguese, the language. So I really was trying to learn the words, and that helped me because the melody is very particular too. And it's, Jobim has a version where he just plays the melody on piano. But I feel like it's easier to memorize it if you have some sense of the lyric, whether in Portuguese or the English one. And in terms of improvising on it, one thing when I was first starting was kind of not getting too hung up on the inversions of the chords. So one way to think is just D minor for 2 bars, E7 for 2 bars, then minor 2/5 back to D minor, right? And maybe that E7 is like A harmonic minor, going to A7 to D harmonic minor. Or maybe the E7, it's almost like, since you're in D minor, when the E7 happens, maybe it's kind of D blues. And sometimes when I'm improvising on a song like this, I change my language a little bit to almost make it more, I don't know if classical sounding is the right term, but maybe more arpeggio based. So sometimes I'll go like. Slightly less, I don't know what the difference is exactly. Like I'm kind of playing a Bach sounding thing or Chopin or something that reflects the way the melody and the harmony of that tune moves. It's got aspects of, I guess, jazz harmony, but obviously it's a Brazilian song. And I don't know, I guess I'm thinking of like Villa Lobos and, Jobim's thing with Chopin, and maybe trying to, some things about choro music, the way the melodies are, and like Pichinguinha, and I'm faking some mixture of what I would normally play with maybe something that sounds more like that, whatever that sounds like. It's a little bit of a, it's improvised, right? So in my mind, I don't have it as worked out conceptually. I just know that sometimes I'll go for a different thing there on a song like that. And so then the major part. So that one thing, that D diminished going to D, or F sharp, F diminished going to D over F sharp. Again, it's like, I think of that as 5 of 3, as I've said on many of these videos. So that D diminished, I'm kind of thinking C sharp, C7, C sharp 7 flat 9. So that first part of the major half of the tune, I'm thinking. As it goes on, I'm really just sort of outlining the chords in a more, as I said before, kind of a more literal way. So. Jazzy part there, right, where it goes B minor, B flat minor, A minor, D7, G. I feel like that's kind of it's like that part in Autumn Leaves, or You Don't Know What Love Is, that chromatic 2/5 kind of thing. And then you have that long sequence of 3/6 2/5 at the end. And what can I say? It's not that the harmony is particularly difficult or unusual. It's just a little more. It's kind of more classical in my mind than maybe like many jazz tunes. And anyway, it's a beautiful tune. I'll play some choruses on it so you can hear what I'm talking about in action. And I encourage you all to learn this song and learn the lyrics too, because it's good Portuguese practice, y'all. Okay, enjoy.
you.